Okay. Morning, afternoon, evening, everybody, depending on where you're joining in from. Welcome to AutoRABIT's Knowledge Revamp webinar. My name is Cameron. I'm the Senior Product Manager of LearningHub and our knowledge products, and I am very excited to take you through two new platforms that we've been working a lot on to really help improve the experience that knowledge has to offer at AutoRABIT. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's hop into our outline here of slides. So we're going to do a quick intro, and then we're going to talk a little bit about why we are revamping knowledge, what our goals are with that here at AutoRABIT. Then we're going to jump into the first platform called LearningHub, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more specifically and then do a demo. And then we're going to do the same thing with our revamped approach to documentation. We're going to talk about it a little bit and then do a demo there. At the very end, we'll open it up for a Q&A and talk about a couple things that we have coming down the pipeline as well. And then we will wrap it up. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into our first part of this, which is really a question of why we came to approach this revamp of knowledge at AutoRABIT in the first place. So revamping our approach to knowledge is an ongoing effort, and it's something that I believe ties into our greater focus on quality as a whole at AutoRABIT. It's been a huge focus for us, especially around, the experience with our products and with our platforms. We want to be able to offer a unified and quality experience across the board. So I believe that learning and, accessing knowledge is a huge part of that as well. So we've distilled it down into four sort of main pillars, or 4 points, if you will, that really sort of bring out what we've been trying to accomplish here with LearningHub and our brand new documentation platform. So the first one of those being a focus on quality, as I mentioned. This is an ongoing effort. It's something that we really want to try to approach from a holistic view. We want to be able to do it from a 360, and whether you're inside the platform using it or whether you're using something ancillary to the platform like our products for knowledge and learning, then we want it to be a consistent level of quality. So we have created a brand new catalog of content designed to provide the best AutoRABIT learning experience to date. So lots of work has gone into the presentation and the structuring of a lot of new courses and certifications, as well as other catalog content that I'm excited to give you guys a sneak peek of here in a second. And then revamping our learning platforms for a more refined experience as a whole too. So that's everything from not only the content, but the user experience and interfaces that are now available for everybody. I hope are a huge improvement and an evolution on what we've been doing with knowledge at AutoRABIT. Next point is, I believe, is an important point of, bringing in an effective approach to knowledge, is fostering an effective community. So that means things like interactive features inside of our new platforms to engage users in discussions and knowledge sharing as a whole, and engaging a vibrant community. When I think of communities that are successful, I think of, popular applications within Stack Overflow, or, developer threads on Reddit or something like that, where you're able to foster a culture of real power users, people who are very familiar with the product, who are able to bounce ideas off of each other and get their questions answered effectively. So really excited to show some of the work we've done there as well. The next one is around a simplified access to knowledge in itself. So, it's one thing to have everything out there, but it's another thing to present it in a way in which people are able to find the information easily and when they need to find it. So we really thought about, reducing the amount of clicks and the amount of access time it takes to get to some of these brand new courses and learning and certification and knowledge that we have as a whole here. So really simplifying that access and getting the information you need without necessarily needing to wait on a reply, or, clear certification paths that break down your content into, a time that works for you, where you can take them chunk by chunk rather than having to set aside, 3 to 4 hours for something. We want the knowledge to be simple in its access, not only in literally finding it, but also approaching it as well. We want it to be, not inundating when you go to start a trail with us, or when you try to find an answer to one of your questions. And the last part of that really segues into, you know, your time is the time to value, right? Not spending a ton of time finding what you need, and content designed to orient you with not only DevOps concepts, but ramp you up into valuable AutoRABIT use cases that you'll actually be able to kick off using any of our products and our platforms with, is super important to us, right? We want to be able to really deliver that use case that you were looking to solve with AutoRABIT immediately, rather than, you know, having to wait a long time with a learning curve that could inhibit those use cases from happening when we want them to. So between these 4 points, we're going to go ahead and hop into the first section of our approach with this. So from my end, we're working on these 2 platforms, as I've mentioned, and they are now officially ready for everybody to start interacting with. We have LearningHub, which the goal with us is to reinvent the AutoRABIT learning curve with LearningHub. We want everything to be a 1 or 2 clicks away for your ability to get the information you need, and also take home some really valuable certifications that will not only help further in your career, but also help with the specific use cases at AutoRABIT. And then documentation, which will be coming very quickly here by the end of this week. We're going to be switching over to our brand new documentation platform 2.0 with GitBook. So I like the term think fast and learn faster. As fast as you think of the information that you need, we want you to be able to learn that information just as quickly. And we've done a couple really interesting things to approach that as well. So the first one we're going to hop into here is LearningHub and just talk about it at a little bit more depth. And then we're going to show a demo, and then we'll do the same thing with GitBook, as I mentioned. So what is LearningHub? LearningHub is our brand new platform that will serve as one place to take AutoRABIT courses and get real certifications based on our content and based on DevOps concepts as a whole. Engage with our community, post questions, topics, etc. So being able to ask those things directly and foster that effective community like we were talking about. And then the last one is quick access to support, documentation, and more. So what we really want to be able to do is, you know, we called it Learning Hub because we do want it to be a hub, right? We want it to be one place where everything is quickly accessible, regardless of whether you're trying to access our new documentation or, you know, get certified in a course right away. Everything sort of sits in that one place and all under one account so that you're easily able to serve your needs. So let's peek under the hood just a little bit. We'll talk about it a little bit more here before I hop into the demo. So what exactly is LearningHub? Again, what does that mean, right? Now, we know what it does or what it aims to do, but what have we been working on for the last few quarters here on really revamping? So LearningHub is now built on a Salesforce platform called Experience Cloud. What this means is that, you know, things are from an accessibility and mobility standpoint, things are, you know, adapted for not only desktop browsing, but mobile as well. So you should be able to access your courses or content in multiple places. And really the attractive feature for us and for our users, we thought, was the fact that we could provide a unified account experience for users. So whether you're learning or interacting in the forum or reaching out to something else, you'll be all under that one account. So there's no way to be confused between multiple logins or anything like that. With that said, LearningHub's Academy courses are built on my Trailhead. So if anybody, and I have a feeling that there's quite a few people in this call who have experience with Salesforce's Trailhead platform, LearningHub connects Experience Cloud and my Trailhead for a one unified learning experience. So by clicking on this little Academy tab that we have up here in the preview, you'll be actually brought into our full certification page, which has the same UI look and feel as Salesforce's native Trailhead. These courses are going to serve as your, you know, this account will be your source of truth for all AutoRABIT learning courses. Salesforce's Trailhead and all of the content in there will be separate from the content that is inside of our courses designed specifically for AutoRABIT and AutoRABIT use cases. But that account is going to be your one place for everything AutoRABIT. With that said, brand new content and certifications that I'm really excited to show you guys through, as well as some new ways that we actually share the certifications with you guys, and also have a really revamped approach to the way that those certifications can be shared to social media, managed, downloaded, all of that. So without further ado, we can go ahead and hop into the LearningHub demo here very quickly. And I'm going to show you some of these key features that we talked about. So if you give me just a moment here, I am on the Learning Hub homepage now, and I'm going to go ahead and make that full screen. So I'm on the Learning Hub homepage now, and you can see there's quick access to, like I mentioned, all of the things immediately at your fingertips, whether it be our new documentation or wanting to ask a question inside of the community forum, or getting hopped straight into a course with one of our onboarding courses with new content. All of that is right up front. And also signing up and enrolling for the Learning Hub is up front as well. I'm logged in right now already. You can see that it shows my name right here, welcoming me into the platform. So we're going to go ahead and get started on some of the key features. The first one I'm going to focus on is the community. So I believe that this is a really powerful feature that we're going to be able to leverage for our users more in the coming future as we foster a community here. Essentially, you're able to ask questions and break them down into topic based on any one of our product stacks right now, and any new ones in the future as well will be added here. So whether you're using a use case in Vault or CodeScan or something with your Encino integration or whatever that niche question might be that you need to have answered, we'll have somebody be able to answer it for you here within 24 hours internally, or in the future, ideally, other people may be able to interact and answer with your questions as well as we have more users adopt this brand new platform and this brand new community. I'm really optimistic that something like this can actually be a huge feedback loop for not only us in creating brand new, effective, and accurate documentation for our users, but also a source of truth where expert answers can stay, and maybe you won't even have to ask your question. It will already be answered for you. That being said, we've preceded this with a lot of questions that we found were super common knowledge use case issues that we've seen with people experience in the past. So we've added some answers in here to some questions that we've seen asked a lot, and you may already have your question addressed. So I encourage everybody to go ahead and take a look at this community forum when they get a chance, or whenever they really need to ask that question that they can't find an answer to anywhere else. Next, we're going to hop into the Academy. First, I'm just going to go back home really quickly and just show that everything here is navigable from the top menu. So we're going to go into this Academy page right here. And now you'll see that it immediately brings me in and has me signed in with my name and everything to our My Trailhead instance. So this will happen automatically as you go into Academy for the very first time when you create a Learning Hub account. And it's going to bring you straight to this page, which shows all of our brand new certifications and content that I'm really excited for people to sink their teeth into. We've already had quite a few people take some of this content, and we've had a lot of great feedback so far. So I look forward to everybody in this webinar being able to hop into Learning Hub and create this content and earn certifications and create some awesome feedback and questions as well. So let's go ahead and take a peek at what we have at a high level view here. And then we're going to drill into one of them, and I'll show a couple of the key features and how we present this information. So you can see we have multiple levels of courses for things like ARM, for CodeScan, and for Vault, as well as different integrations like Encino. So we're approaching, I believe, almost 100 brand new videos in here of different use cases and content throughout all the modules in each of these courses. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and hop into our ARM onboarding course to go ahead and start here. This is a great place for teams who are trying to get up and running. Engineering teams who might need to start using AutoRABIT in a specific way or specific use case can pinpoint what they need out of our AutoRABIT ARM onboarding course and really start getting to their use case. So up front, we have this DevOps fundamentals for beginners. So this module really helps orient people with, some of the key concepts of DevOps before we dive fully into AutoRABIT itself. So things like Git, things like branching, and just the general concepts that come with something like DevOps, DevSecOps. We like to ramp people up before we get started with the nitty-gritty of AutoRABIT itself. Moving on to that, then we have it go into the track itself, where you're able to look at each one of the modules and take the content. And at the very end, there's an exam which you take within the platform. And then after passing that exam is when you're sent the certification. So let's go ahead and start with one of these modules and just peek at what it looks like inside. I'm going to start with this very first one here. As you see, we have a very nicely edited and put together video right up front that shows the use case that we're going to be covering in that video. This is a getting started one, so it's really setting up some of the different configurations in the beginning. Then we actually go through that specific use case. And then at the very end of the use case, we also like to wrap up with what we've done, and we give a little recap of what we covered in that use case, and then provide the information below as well. We've learned that a lot of people like to learn in a lot of different ways. So not only do we have it in a video format, we also have all of that same information supplemented by a textual walkthrough guide below that as well. So whether you like to read along and listen, or just read or just watch, we aim to serve those different ways of learning. One way that I really like to learn personally is I actually am very hands-on with learning. So sometimes even this video and this text won't necessarily do it for me. So we've actually expanded another way of learning, which I'm really excited to show everybody. We have clickable walkthroughs of the different use cases that we have in each of these modules now as well. We're looking to expand this to all of our modules in the near future, but we have it for a lot of them to start. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into one of these and just show what that looks like. So you can see here, when I clicked onto that, it brought me into this clickable demo. And from this demo, I get a little context for what exactly I'm going to be doing. And this corresponds, it's the same use case that we saw Essence complete in that video that we just watched with the presentation. So we're going to go ahead. Yep, there we go. You see the video popped up right there. So we're going to go ahead and click through that, which really helps solidify and, hammer down what we're trying to show. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and be able to show through this. And at every one of the steps, you really feel like you are actually inside of our product, completing the different modules right now, right? Or completing your task at hand. So we actually give, little blurbs along the way to, sort of hold your hand through the process and make sure that you understand what's happening at each one of the steps. So I'm not gonna belabor you through the entire thing, but once you finish one of these click-throughs, it will actually link you straight back into the main learning platform that you were just in. So it feels like one unified experience and you don't get lost while navigating through it. So now that we're back into here, that's sort of the three main ways that we really try to present the information effectively for users. And then at the very end of that, we also have a quick little pop quiz, usually anywhere between 1 to 3 questions at most, really just to help make sure that you're staying on track and absorbing those key concepts that we're looking to get across for each of the modules. So I'm going to hop back into the main part of this course really quickly and just peek at this certified exam onboarding. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's say I've completed all of my modules now and I'm ready to take the exam. It's going to come in here and link you to a standard Salesforce Trailhead looking exam. I think I've already completed this one, so it's going to show that it's complete for me, but it will just be a list of questions, in this case 35, as well as some details on when to expect your certificate. So I completed this, and the certificate will be emailed to you within 24 hours of completion of an exam. The certificates are emailed out once we refresh our Salesforce on a nightly basis and collect all of the new users who have earned those certs, and then they're sent out by the platform to each person at that point. So if you don't get your certification the minute you complete your exam, just give it a little bit of time, and I'm sure it will be emailed to you very shortly thereafter. Let's go ahead and take a peek at what that certification looks like as well. So I'm going to show you an example of one that I earned for CodeScan. So you will get an email, and then that email will go ahead and show it'll show your name, and it'll show our little logo and say, hey, congratulations, you have earned your AutoRABIT certification. And then being able to click into that email, looks like mine is having a little trouble loading right now, but that's okay. Once you click into it, it'll have a link that says, hey, come check out your new certification, and you click there, and then you will be brought to your certification page. So in this page, we have your graduate ID for whatever certification. We like to tie them back to a verifiable ID and source of truth. We also have the date that it was issued, and then we have some really, really easy features to go ahead and share that certification to your various social medias, download it, save the link to it, whatever you want to do with your certification at that point. We also keep a source of truth on our end. So if for any reason you needed to have your certification sent out to you again or reissued, or you have any questions about it, you can always reach out to us here at AutoRABIT and we can go ahead and get you that certification pulled back for you from our end as well. So I think between the brand new platform, the brand new way that the exams are experienced, the brand new certification features that we have, and the content itself, I'm really excited for people to start getting into LearningHub and using it. It's available to be used right away. So I encourage everybody in this call to go ahead and enroll and ask me. You can email me directly if there's any questions that you have along the way with LearningHub as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and pause here for just a second and hop back into our other platform, our new documentation platform, but we're going to talk about it a little bit first, and I'm going to give a little bit of context to the next part of our demos. So that was our LearningHub demo. Let's go ahead and bring this back up. That was our LearningHub demo. And just to circle back around, now we're going to move into our new approach to documentation with a platform called GitBook, and how these two things can really work hand in hand to help your learning experience, your knowledge experience as a whole, really improve and feel unified here at AutoRABIT. So what is new with our GitBook documentation? So GitBook documentation is our brand new platform that includes some really notable upgrades to how we approach documentation in the past. The first one is being able to quickly access documentation with an easier than before navigation structure. The easy to use intuitive UI that ties in resources from our LearningHub and ties in community resources and resources for developers and release managers and all of those things that I'm going to show you here in a minute really shine in this new platform and its simple way to navigate. And on top of that, we also have some very powerful tools to help you quickly get specific answers within knowledge docs, which we have never had implemented before inside of documentation. So I'm very excited to show how users are able to get the information they need quickly and effectively. So let's go ahead and hop and take another peek under the hood just one more time, this time with what GitBook is. So we have our new platform, GitBook. It's a documentation platform built with version control in mind. So what do I mean by that? Each piece of documentation now is connected to an actual Git repository, and it's properly versioned, meaning that we can actually have pull requests leveraged to update our documentation from a repo directly. This means that we can do a lot smarter publishing and make the change management of publishing a lot easier for not only internally, but for future customers and teams in the future as well. And also review features that allow for quick feedback and publishing of docs on top of that. The next thing that I'm really excited about with GitBook is the fact that we have a lot more versatile support for different forms of content. So embeddable instructional videos, diagrams and dynamic media, as well as web embeds and different interactive click-throughs that we can now add directly into our knowledge content, into our documentation, is going to hopefully sort of similarly to how we're trying to deliver our content in learning courses and in our certifications that you can earn. We want to be able to provide a rich offering of content within our documentation as well. So having a platform that supports that was super important for us. And then, like I mentioned, just the brand new interface really brings all of this documentation into the 2020s, if you will, with a straightforward navigation, powerful AI tools, and quick and efficient organization of all of the topics that I'm really excited to show you guys. So let's go ahead and take a look at GitBook demo really quickly here now. Okay, so I am on our GitBook homepage, and like I mentioned, right now, if you go to our knowledgebase.autorabit.com, we are currently in the very final stages of moving everything over, so this will be live likely by the end of this week, and we'll make sure that everybody gets a communication so they can know and go ahead and check it out themselves. But I just wanted to show you this peek at exactly what we're going to be bringing, what's new to our documentation. So in the top here, you can see that we land on a page that really gives us just some great starting information, and we've broken out some specific pieces of information as well that users often access documentation for. So like example, we have our release notes separated and kept in its own place now, so that if somebody is looking to access that content specifically, it should be very easy to do so. We also have resources for getting set up for the first time, and sometimes you also might want to refer to our glossary. There's a lot of different terms and concepts and names that come up in something like DevOps, and sometimes they can be inundating. Even I forget sometimes. I'm like, what does that mean? So I like to go back into the glossary, and that's a new feature that we look to continually improve and create a place where we make all of our knowledge, including our language, for our learning, accessible for everybody. We also have broken out some commonly known FAQ questions across each of the products, and then that brings me into the product guides themselves. So everything now is located under one central file navigation system here, so you can hop between whatever you may be looking for very quickly. And we even have broken out some content and some of the docs into specific use cases and resources for roles as well. So you can see here, if I was a developer or a release manager or an admin, I can go ahead and take a look at some of the different courses in the Learning Hub that have been created directly for me in my role, as well as uses in the community forum as well, on top of all the documentation that we offer. So between these two things, like I had mentioned, we're really trying to unify the learning experience across these platforms wherever possible. And we're trying to reduce the amount of time that it really takes to learn that information as much as possible too. Which brings me into the last really, really exciting feature that I want to show inside of this new knowledge base that we have. So if I navigate up here to the top right next to my little night or day toggle there for dark or light theme, I can go ahead and click on this search option here. And I do have a standard search, but the really fun and interesting part is we now have a new AI tool that's been trained and integrated with our AutoRABIT docs and our model, our learning. It's a model that's been trained to actually answer your questions directly, rather than having to, parse through and find that information inside of docs. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and just ask it something, and I'm not really going to put too much thought into how I format the question or, what I'm looking for here. I just want to get an answer. Right. So I'm just going to say, how do I do an easy merge in ARM? Right. We're going to go ahead and take a look at that. We'll give it a second. It's going to think about what the answer is. And again, it's been trained on all of our content. So boom, as soon as I go ahead and ask that question, it parses through everything, and it gives me an actual step-by-step of what I need to do to perform an easy merge in our ARM application. So instead of me having to go find that file, find that document within our documentation, as organized as it is, this is still a very much quicker way and a really effective way of getting the piece of information you need out of our knowledge base, rather than spending all the time in the knowledge base itself. So you're able to action on these immediately. You can tell us if it was a useful feature or a useful piece of feedback or not. You can copy it if you were looking for the answer for somebody else. And it also gives me some different follow-up questions that I'm able to ask as well, some things that I might have been thinking of next. So I can ask it, different merge types, for example, and it will bring me back additional information and really continue to try to train itself on what people are looking to access. So as we start to create, improvements to further improvements to our documentation, as we create more documentation and more learning resources, this feature will only continue to improve. So I encourage everybody to try it out as soon as this is live a little bit later this week. I encourage everybody to go ahead and try this out and see if it's able to serve your needs as far as questions and answers go. It's not 100% perfect, I won't say that, but it is definitely a really, really great step in the right direction for accessing knowledge quickly here at AutoRABIT. Now I'm going to go ahead and just give it a one more overview. So again, we have resources and everything tied in on one end. We have fundamentals and some of the things to get started right up top, as well as our release notes. So the way that we've organized and approached documentation, I'm really excited to get you guys into this brand new platform and checking it out as well. So between those two things, those were our two high-level demos of the brand new platforms that are going to be available to everybody. So let's go ahead and just do a quick recap, and then we'll look into the future very briefly on a few things that we have planned in the next few months and further out, and then we will take Q&A. So just as a recap, we have our quality journey that has really brought us into the approach of these new two platforms. So our emphasized focus on the experience of our products, including knowledge and community resources, learning resources, are really important for us, which has really spurred this entire project. LearningHub, right, which we covered, is an evolved approach to our certifications and collaboration, quick access to resources and content relevant to users, and really just calling out the fact that we have so many new certifications for everybody to be able to, put on their LinkedIn and share and actually improve their own knowledge and their career resources through these certifications is a super exciting thing for me. And then finally, the revamped documentation. So our streamlined approach to docs with the powerful new lens feature where you're able to get an AI answer immediately, the integrated version control with content management, the direct feedback on different documents, right? All of that is something that it should be very exciting moving forward with our documentation. I really hope it can sort of revamp the way that people experience docs, because that's traditionally not always the most fun place to be in. We want to make sure that, if anything, it's highly effective and a pleasant experience to be in with AutoRABIT. So between those, let's talk about what we still have planned coming up, because this is an evergreen platform, right? We want new learning content and certifications to continually be coming out for this platform, updates to our existing courses, as well as brand new learning content and certifications are planned for release. Before the end of this year, actually, we're going to have a couple more things that you'll see come into that Learning Hub, as well as continual updates to the information that we already do have in there. We're also going to be adding some additional community features and some additional resources for specific roles and strategic partnerships as a part of our Learning Hub and our brand new platforms. So we're going to have a lot more in there over the next few quarters, the next years. We want this platform to really grow and scale with AutoRABIT, and this is just the start. So with that said, continuous improvement is important for us on both fronts, continuous improvement to documentation and knowledge management, as well as those improved feedback loops we talked about on existing content through the community and through the feedback we get directly. Expanding version controlled improvement requests as well to the whole AutoRABIT community is something that we're looking to do in the near future. We want people to be able to make those direct polls into our docs and make us recommendations or make us improvements, especially with some of our strategic partners and integration specialists. We really want them to be able to have their touch on our documentation wherever it can be improved. So stay tuned for those things to be coming in the future as well. But I'm really excited about what we have right now, and I'm really excited to have everybody checking it out. So let's go ahead and hop into questions and feedback. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Cam. That was wonderful. So we've got a couple questions and a little bit of time. So I'm gonna pop these in for you. The
Awesome.
lens feature. It said it was based on 12 resources. Will people be able to drill into those resources and find the actual depth documentation?
Yeah, so I think that what they're referring to, and I'll just pull it up really quickly here. I think what is being referred to is when we come into here in Lens, right? And if I ask it a question, so I'll ask it, what ALMs are supported in ARM, right? I'm just going to give it a generic question here. And it shows me where it those sources, right? I think that this is what we were taking a look at here. So yeah, so what you can do is you can actually click into that and you can see the different pieces of documentation that it went ahead and it parsed through to get that answer for you. So in certain situations, it may pull from a couple different pieces of documentation to provide a more holistic answer than what you could get from any one piece. But you are able to drill into that and look at it specifically. There's also a more traditional search feature. So if you were just looking for one specific document and you wanted the whole thing, you can search that in a more traditional sense as well. But yeah, that's there, and the lens will tell you where it found that information and how it came to that answer, essentially.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Are the AutoRABIT certifications linked with the Trailhead platform?
That's another great question. So we worked with My Trailhead, which is from Salesforce, but not connected to the main Trailhead platform. So My Trailhead has the exact same look and feel and UI of a normal Trailhead platform, and I'll show you that again right here. But it doesn't necessarily connect to your Salesforce Trailhead that you use to, take your normal, Salesforce admin cert or anything like that may be in your traditional Trailhead. And that was actually a decision made by Salesforce by design. They did not want the points to mix between your My Trailhead instances that you have with specific products and platforms like AutoRABIT and your main Trailhead, which is, a part of the sort of overall Trailhead platform that Salesforce proctors out courses through. Same look and feel, but those two are going to be two separate accounts for you. Yep.
Great, thank you. I got another one here. How do we carry the credentials over if you switch a company?
That's a fantastic question. So right now we have easy account management inside of the platform itself. So if you were to go to a different company and let's say you had an email in here that was stored from your older company, right? You could go ahead and update that email directly inside of LearningHub to one of your personal emails, or if you already have it, your newer work email. But that certification is tied to you and your name. And kept in a source of truth. So even if you were to go to, a zillion different companies afterwards, we'll still have your name tied back to that certification and that ID when you did go ahead and earn it. So they'll stay persistent within your account, even if you change the email on your account or anything like that.
Great, thank you. All right, I think I have our last question. Unless if anybody has anything else they want to pop into the Q&A. But the last question is, I have existing certifications from AutoRABIT Academy. How will those be managed now that there's this new platform?
Awesome question. So this is our brand new learning platform, but like the user asked, there's probably a lot of people who have old Academy platform certifications from our existing Academy. And some of that content is actually still valid within our new Learning Hub. So with that said, what we have done is we've essentially taken all of those older certifications and we've ported them over into this new platform. So if you earned one of our newest certs in our existing platform in the last 6 or so months here, you will you'll see an email come into your inbox with the brand new certification platform resending you those certs essentially so that they're paired with our brand new platform. If you've taken a certification that's really, really old, we had a couple things in our old academy that were, 2.5, 3.5 years old, even in some situations. That content, we are end of lifing that content, and we've offered brand new updated versions of that content that are available right now for free for users to go ahead and get certified in. Even if they did have one of the older ones in the past, they're welcome to continue that learning experience with some of our brand new ones. But if you earned a newer certification in the older platform, so before this platform went fully GA, you'll see a new email come with your brand new certification that's tied to this platform. Even if you don't create an account in this new platform yet, we'll still bring it over and make sure that we have that source of truth.
Perfect. All right, we did get a couple more questions while you're talking, and we have a few more minutes. So let's see if we can answer some of these. All Are there going to be maintenance exams for the certifications? And if there are, how often would that happen?
That's a great question. Yep. So we are going to have updates and maintenance exams to certification. We haven't had any of that happen yet, even with beta users, as this hasn't been very new yet. But if you actually peek at one of these certifications here, you can see that we have an expiry date given out for each one of these. So by the time that first expiry date hits, which should be somewhere around March, I believe, we are going to have maintenance exams for each of the ARM certifications and code scan certifications to keep those users updated on that. So right now, what we're doing is finding the most effective way to actually only test on the Delta so that you don't have to retest on the entire piece of content if avoidable. So stay tuned for more on that. But yes, the short and simple answer is we do have a yearly sort of update process for each of these certifications as well.
Perfect. Can people register with their personal email address, or does it have to be a company email address?
That's another good question. We would highly prefer that people register with their work email whenever possible. However, if you are running into an issue with that, or if there is a reason why you would want to enroll with your personal one specifically, I'm not like super opposed to it necessarily. It wouldn't hurt to send a quick email just letting us know if that's the case, because we do have people monitoring the enrolls, making sure that we have a clean and safe community. So sometimes if we see a lot of Gmails or random emails coming in, that can potentially be flagged. However, it obviously does happen from time to time, depending on the case. So if you need to use a personal, it won't stop you from enrolling, but we do highly encourage that you use your work email if possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cam. That was the last of our questions, and we're just about at time. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I want to thank Cam for this wonderful session. This recording will be available, and we'll make sure that everybody has access to it. And I hope that you all get the best out of the new Learning Hub.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I appreciate it. And thank you guys for the great questions. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody has a great rest of their evening or morning or day, wherever you may be.